Welcome to the bold analysis. Western members of parliament and leaders across the political divide converged in Statehouse Pavilion on Wednesday morning, and what was supposed to be a development meeting, the leaders ended up leaving the Statehouse annoyed, empty-handed, feeling betrayed, and zero to show for what was supposed to be a development tour. And so, for the first time, you're going to open the lid on the confrontation between Bonnie Khalwale and President Ruto. Why there was that Statehouse walkout. But as we look at that, what exactly is the value of the frequent meetings with the president under the guise of taking development to the people? And really, governance observers ask a very pertinent question. What is this money that the president is having in State House and dishing to people for development, where there are institutions that are bestowed with the responsibility of distributing the resources? Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. When you subscribe to a channel, you'll be getting notifications whenever we publish a video. So make sure you subscribe and be a member of this great family. Shout out. I had another shout out. Oh,
enda kuwashukuru kwa sababu ya vile tumeshirikiana. Over the last couple of months, we have brought different teams together. And because we have brought different teams together under the broad-based arrangement, we are making steady progress in the right direction. Specifically, the items I thought I should mention to you as people's representatives, and areas that you need to focus so that we can use the infrastructure of government to drive the development of our country.
When Western MPs, senators, governors, and received invitation from the Senate Chief Whip, none other than Bonnie Khalwale, for a meeting with the president on Wednesday morning, the invite was clear that they were going to meet for a development, for mapping development. But that meeting later turned out to be a political duel, as MPs descended on president with huge blows. First, let us look at, I was so curious looking at the sitting here. Contrary to other meetings, I saw when the president met leaders from Luo Nyanza, and I think that was Homa Bay County, they were brought together and the president chaired that meeting alone. And even if you check the other meetings with Mount Kenya MPs and Mount Kenya governors, the president heads. But unlike others, this one, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, in terms of the seating arrangement, and Moses Wetangula and Oparanya were made to be the leaders, the ones that are leading that delegation to State House, and Musalia Mudavadi. And that was very strategic, probably to give them some bragging rights that they are the fellows that have taken them to State House. The meeting that lasted for 2 hours did not end well, and there was a walkout by allegedly Bonnie Khalwale. Khalwale, who was the whip, confronted the president about an impeachment motion against Moses Wetangula that is allegedly being mooted by the ODM team in the National Assembly. And it is understood that these MPs raised this point to the president since such an impeachment motion is thriving in the broad-based environment and Wetangula refusal to fold Ford Kenya so that he could officially join the Ruto administration. I want to look at what exactly has been said about this meeting because it is very critical to look at what they said. Aya. Bonnie Khalwale sought Ruto's assurance to halt any such plans. Okay, there have been reports of plans to remove Wetangula from the powerful National Assembly position and hand over the post to ODM. Khalwale sought Ruto's assurance to halt any such plans, emphasizing the need to respect the region's support. Khalwale confronted the president, telling him to assure the community that Wetangula's post is safe and not part of the ongoing negotiations. A second-term lawmaker who attended the meeting told the president. At one point, the self-proclaimed bullfighter got emotional, prompting the president to cut him short, assuring the leaders there were no such plans. The MPs saying Khalwale was on fire. It forced the president to intervene, telling him that he is the leader and, or rather telling him that that is his meeting and he is going to take charge of all that. So it was at that point that things did not turn out well. The meeting was called for alleged development, but at the end of it all, it was not development. The MPs are also saying that they feel trapped and betrayed. William Ruto met the president on Wednesday morning, and a section of MPs raised a concern to the president that despite the fact that in the power sharing agreement, the health docket was actually set aside for Moses Wetangula, CS Deborah Baraza was facing harassment from her principal secretary Kemutai and another powerful CS in the cabinet that was threatening to ensure that she's sacked from the cabinet. And if she was going to be sacked, she was going to suffer the same fate like that of Susan Nakumisha. The president assured the MPs in front of the CS that her position is intact and she was not going, and of course praising Deborah Mlongo, the head CS, for her contribution in the health docket. Only later in the afternoon, hours later in the afternoon, the MPs were shocked to realize that indeed the president was planning a reshuffle and had reshuffled Deborah from the health docket straight to the environment and climate. So there was a feeling that this was not communicated to them, and the president assured them that that position was secure and they were not going to interfere. Remember, this came about as the Western MPs were complaining on what they call being sidelined. When the new PS list was released, the list that was given, the positions that was given, the new 7 positions that were created, 10 had been given, over 14 had been given to Raila Odinga, and Raila axis divided according to the ODM side, with an understanding that the power sharing deal between UDA, ANC, and Ford Kenya was quashed, as ODM party is actually emerging as the strongest or rather superior partner to the UDA than other parties that formed that coalition. Of course, with the MPs demanding the answers on the 30% share that was promised. Now, just a quick look at what that 30% share actually meant. Ford Kenya ANC stake in government according to 2022 pre-election pact ANC, at least 6 cabinet posts. ANC was to get at least 6 cabinet posts. Then National Assembly Speaker post, ring-fenced for the two parties. And that is why it was given to Moses Masika Wetangula. Then Ruto to get 70% vote from the region, additional 1,000 kilometers of tarmac road, and then 30% appointments cutting across cabinet and the other positions like the principal secretaries. So this question emerged. The one thing I'm so curious about is I don't know how they would demand this while Musalia Mudavadi had folded his party. Yes, he had folded his party, and that party no longer existed since there were reports of him joining, and then the only party that was remaining was actually the Wetangula party. The article, however, did not mention about any development. Coincidentally, it has not mentioned about any development. In fact, the president if you look at the post by the president, he is trying to talk about some few developments planned for there, but MPs are not yet clear. If you compare that with today, there was another meeting by Ukambani leaders. I know they came out and generated a story headline of 5.3 billion. That Ruto coughs, 5.3 billion. I saw such a story somewhere here. Yes, if you check that, you'll actually find that story. That Ruto coughs 5.2 billion after meeting Mwengi Mutuse and the former Chekos Governor Alfred Mutua. Now, I believe they were creating that news story to try to give account of what they have found, of what they have gathered after meeting the president. That is indeed the main reason why that story came out. But on this story of the Western leaders, it is not clear what exactly was there. And I've seen a response from Caleb Amisi. Caleb Amisi is saying, I have lost count on the number of times the president has had meetings with Luya MPs. But what I'm yet to count is any single project initiated in Western courtesy of these meetings. Of course, they avoided inviting me for reasons best known to them, but it isn't about time we now see these projects. Equalization of funds to all regions of the country is key for the cohesiveness of a nation. Western is still lagging behind in development despite enormous support from brothers in government. At this point, allow me to play a soundbite of Sabina Chege. She was speaking somewhere in Spice FM, and she really said something I would want us to touch a bit. That is it. We have questioned, and the country has questioned about this, about this issue of the houses of grass-thatched, I think grass-thatched houses. Even though I've been to Nyandarua last year, I think I built some houses in Nyandarua. It's not true that in Mount Kenya there are no mud walled houses, but indeed they're way better compared to what is on the other side. That I do agree. And so she made a very clear point, and even those who want to argue on one region is developed more than the other, they must also put it to a context in terms of the cash crops that are available there. And I do use the good example is my county of Siaya. I don't know if there is any cash crop coming there that is putting people busy. Sijui. Because there is none. I don't know because there is none. There is some activity, gold mining, some illegal gold mining that is killing people almost every day. It cannot. So you cannot compare that. And I ever went, I've gone to Murang'a and I saw a mama, a shosho mkubwa sana, akiwa ameenda kukata napier grass for just having one cow there, na napata maziwa and the coffee and all that. So there is a bit of difference in terms even of context, even as we try to explain these things. Now, the meeting exposes one thing, according to me, the agenda was just to try to stem the Luo-Luya rivalry boiled by Salasia Natembeya access. Hey, I'm telling you, Natembeya and the team are really preaching the gospel of Western exclusion, and this is threatening Ruto. I listened to Salasia, something I really condemned, the attack on Salasia. And Salasia is not going to change. I can promise you that man I'm seeing, that one is not going to change. I listened to him saying, of course, preaching the Luo-Luya rivalry, a direction I wouldn't think it will take, because it's true, he was attacked by Luos in Nyayo, but he was not attacked by all Luos, he was attacked by goons. In fact, those were goons under someone's payroll. So the issue of blanketing the community and saying now it is Luos who have attacked me, it is not a very good direction, because personally, Malua was not in Nyayo. Did I attack him? And many of us here. So that aspect of running that narrative, it was not a good one, but I think it's threatening the president. That's why this meeting was called. Number two, consolidate Luya caucus around Wetangula. That's a perception to be created because Raila Odinga has failed to live up to the dreams. And I think it was routine political smoothing for the allies. Thank you.